All right, I think we're live now. So welcome everyone to Leading with Leverage. Really happy to introduce you to a couple of awesome ladies here. I'm joined by Amanda Nadia Abdelsayed and her rock star executive assistant operations manager, Gabby Rodriguez. They join us today from Morristown, New Jersey. They're with Keller Williams. And Amanda, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, thanks Ryan for having us on. So yeah, I've been an agent for about 7 years, sold over $100 million in real estate and have been looking for an assistant since I started and finally have found the perfect person to complement me. So we're excited to be here and thanks for having us.
You bet. And that awesome person that's been added to Amanda's life, Miss Gabby Rodriguez. Gabby, could you tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, everyone. Well, I joined Amanda's team back March 1st, so almost 6 months now that we've been together. I came from a big corporate background. I worked for JP Morgan Chase and really was looking for someone to really connect with and help grow their business. So when I met Amanda, I knew that it was the one for me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a deeper dive into that. I'd like to actually kind of hit the rewind button here and go back to actually before the two of you met. And Amanda, you were in the mode of looking for Gabby because you had had some experiences before. You had had several assistants in the past and things hadn't quite worked out. Can you talk a little bit about some of your previous experiences and some of the things that maybe didn't work as well for you as they should have or could have?
Yeah, so before Gabby would be assistant number 7. So I have gone through 7 people. um, and as a high I would say a high I myself, I, resonate with a lot of people. Try to see the best in people and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. If I like you, then I'm going to try to hire you or see how we can make it work. But that obviously was not a good strategy. So I came to KW. I learned about KPAs. I had hired someone, or I had gone through the KPA process with someone else and hired them, but they just weren't the right fit for me. And I had probably missed a few red flags along the way. And finally, we hired Gabby in March, and she is above and beyond my expectations.
Yeah, for sure. She's doing great. I've had a chance to work
Mhm.
alongside you all as we get her onboarded. So just for those that don't know what we're talking about when we're saying a high I, there's a personality assessment called the DISC assessment. It looks at 4 personality vectors, D, I, S, and C. The I is the interaction vector, and many real estate agents and rainmakers, they are high interaction people. They love interacting with people. It fuels them. It doesn't fuel everyone, but the high I's, it fuels them. And so what Amanda had experienced here, we see quite a bit. A lot of times people want to hang out with and work out or work with people that are similar to them. So a high I that likes to interact, they're probably on some level at least want to hire someone that they're going to feel comfortable interacting with, but that's not always the recipe for success. And then the KPA, that's the Keller Personality Assessment, that's another personality profile that Amanda referred to there, is released by Keller Williams. It's a good tool, but it requires a lot of steps and discipline to follow all the steps, and a lot of times a busy person like Amanda can struggle with seeing every single step through and maybe even noticing things that she has only done so much hiring. But anyway, so those were some of the things that didn't work. You found Soprani Consulting. Soprani helped you kind of go through the hiring process there. Gabby stood out during the hiring process. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you saw in Gabby among the other candidates, or in comparison to the other candidates, that really made you feel like I think this one could be different? I think this one could be the one.
Yeah, I mean, with the other candidates, I was kind of hiring from a place of pain because I needed someone so desperately. And I'm grateful for those experiences because they really helped me narrow down on, okay, what is really going to work for me? And it might not be textbook of what the typical role should be. But I got to know myself and my own personal needs and realized, okay, I need someone that is a high S and C, if we're going back to the disc, where someone that's going to be very detail oriented, very organized. But for myself personally, I also need someone that has that I factor and is more interactive, because they're going to be dealing with the clients a lot, and when I can't get to them. So my assistant is basically an extension of me, and Gabby not only does all of those things very well, but where she stood out above and beyond that was in our alignment of values. So I think the combination of her her skills, being detail oriented, being organized, keeping me on track, but still having a great personality, being able to compliment me with the clients and keep everything, keep the engine moving, and our values aligning, just really created this synergy that I couldn't have asked for with anyone else.
Awesome. Yeah. And like you mentioned, you're the high I. You did want someone to be fairly interactive, but maybe not off the charts interactive. It's not necessarily mutually exclusive for someone to be super detail oriented and also interactive. Gabby's kind of got a good balance there where she's very detail oriented. She's a stabilizing force for the business, but she's got a great personality. She does enjoy interaction. She can interact when she needs to, but she can also turn that off and get a whole bunch of stuff done when she needs to. Gabby, can you talk a little bit about Amanda, the process, the things that made you really excited about this particular opportunity?
Yeah, like I've said with Amanda and in the beginning of our training, when I was looking to move careers, I wasn't necessarily shifting to real estate. I was more attracted to Amanda and how she runs her business. And her values aligning with mine was just an enormous plus, because we do have a great synergy, and where I drop off, she picks up, with her being a high I and me being not as high of an I. I'm really high S and C. Like, for example, if she's having a conversation with someone and we have a meeting in 10 minutes, like, yeah, I can be in the conversation, but as the minutes tick by, I'm like, all right, let's go. Come on. We have something to do. And she's like, oh, okay. She could talk for hours with someone.
Not me.
So it's just a matter of like complimenting each other. And at this point, we're almost 6 months in now. Like, I could read her mind when she says something. Like, she could say a word and I'll be like, oh yeah, we're doing that next week.
Yeah. And I think, also like my own self-awareness, realizing where my strengths and weaknesses are, and, even realizing where Gabby's strengths and weaknesses are, and how can we best work and operate in our gifts. I'm not going to have Gabby do something that she's like absolutely hates. Like, I want her to come to work and be really happy with what she does. So even though there are sometimes things that we don't like to do, but just realizing what are our own individual strengths and weaknesses, and how can we complement each other.
Awesome. And then I know that Gabby impressed both of us very early on. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that Gabby did, or her approach, or whatever it was that made you feel, once you made the hire, okay, she's in the door, I'm paying her, this was a big move, but okay, I feel good about this one. This one's going to stick. What were the things she was doing to help you feel great about her?
Well, in the interview process, she had a notebook that was color coordinated. And I was like, this is great. And it was like a calendar that was all color coordinated. And I was like, that is so not me, but I so need that. And then as soon as she walked in the door, she kind of took the bull by the horns, like taking initiative and seeing where are areas that she can jump into and improve. So I was a little bit hesitant, to be honest, because she didn't have formal real estate experience. but she did have professional experience, and she seemed like a go-getter and the type of person that would pick things up very quickly. And then once she started, that was definitely more than apparent. And it actually ended up being a benefit that she didn't have formal real estate experience, because she learned everything how I would want it done, as opposed to maybe bad habits from another team, or, you know, different ways of doing things. So I think, her being new in the industry, it did take a little bit more training in the beginning, just getting her up to speed of how this is real estate and how it operates. But once she kind of got the hang of it, she learned really quickly, really took initiative and just ran with it. And I love and appreciated that.
If we could dig just a little bit deeper on that, because having worked in recruiting and consulting for a while, sometimes people are like, oh, I want someone that has all the experience in the world, and they'll feel like they're going to be plug and play. In this case, it took an upfront investment by you to get Gabby where you wanted her to be, but it was easier maybe for you to get her where you wanted her to be because she was a little bit of a blank slate in terms of, real estate experience. So any other just kind of general advice to rainmakers about when they're looking for talent and someone, what should they be looking for, but also what should be their expectation, like right there in the beginning? Sometimes people hire someone and they're like, okay, I just threw money at this situation by hiring this person. That person can now deal with it. You were more active in your approach, and you're like, okay, no, I put money toward this, but I'm also going to take my time and effort and invest a lot up front there as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge investment that I'm taking, and if I'm going to bring someone in as an employee, like, this is her livelihood also. So we have to make it work for both of us. And if I don't take that initial time up front to make it work, then I'll be in the same boat, or 6 months later, and she's not learning and I'm getting frustrated. So I think if someone possesses the skills, not necessarily the experience, but if they have the skills, where Gabby was very professional, very detail oriented, she was a go-getter, she learns things quickly, and she cares. I think that's like a huge thing. And the fact that she wanted to do well and succeed in her role, then the easy part is learning real estate. But the things that you can't teach someone are the things that she had already brought into the role.
Yeah, Gabby, can you talk a little bit about that? What it is about you, that go-getter attitude that you brought here, where you wanted to grab the bull by the horns, you wanted to dive in, you wanted to get yourself up to speed as quickly as possible, take stuff away from her as quickly as possible. Not everyone has that in them, and maybe it comes naturally to you. Maybe it's something you're very intentional about. Can you take us back and go back to the beginning and even up to today and talk about your approach to do a great job for Amanda?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first started, I knew nothing about real estate other than you can see houses on Zillow. Other than that, knew not a thing. So coming into it, for being in banking for so long and then coming into real estate, it was really, I wanted to prove to myself that, okay, you got this, you can learn it. You just have to put in the time and put in the work and you will succeed. So doing that, and Amanda being so passionate about helping me so much up front, answering all of my questions, teaching me the right way, not just the way that it's done, really helped. And we had a really good balance. And I think a lot of it comes down to taking feedback. And I tend to think that I take feedback fairly well. When Amanda gives me feedback, she's never, and anyone, if they're giving you feedback in a professional setting, it's never telling you something, it's never yelling at you, it's never malicious. It's just, and if you take it and interpret it as feedback, and instead of it being like, oh, well, she said this to me, that means she's upset. No, she's telling me something so that we can move past it and learn from it. Everything is a learning experience. So I think feedback is the ultimate guide to succeeding in your role. You're not going to succeed in your role unless you interpret feedback as what it is at face value, which is just feedback and not criticism or anything like that. So I think we have a really good balance with her giving me feedback and even me giving her feedback. She'll ask me, she'll be like, please tell me something that you want me to know. So it's just a matter of interpreting that. And like you've said in our training, never taking your foot off the gas. Like we want to make sure that we are constantly, okay, we're not doing anything right now. Well, we need to be doing something right now in order to keep it moving. So just constantly building on what we have and never settling, never saying, oh, okay, well, this is good enough, so we can move on now. It's always building on the foundation that we have so that we will succeed and keep growing our business and growing our team.
So much great stuff there. I love the drive, the hey, if we need to be constantly doing something. Some people are these are not the type of people we're normally looking to hire. That it's like you'll give them something to do and they'll do it, and then they'll just sit there kind of twiddling their thumbs, waiting to be asked to do something. Gabby's not wired that way. Gabby's like, okay, I finished this. How else can I add value? How else can I improve things? I think that's really awesome. Also, in terms of the feedback and being open and receptive to feedback, I think a lot of people think that they're open and receptive to feedback, but we've talked about personalities today a little bit. I want to talk just really briefly. I could talk about this for a month, but the Amandas of the world, they tend to be direct people. They tend to just get right into the point and say, hey, you messed this up. Can we get this right next time? And a lot of times people in the support roles, they're not as direct. So when they get feedback, it's easy for them to be like, oh my gosh, I would never, for me to talk to someone like that, I would have to be furious, and then they assume that their boss is really furious at them. And the boss usually isn't mad. It's just that they're trying to be efficient with time. And they're like, hey, this didn't work. You got to fix it. And it's okay, but let's move on. We're not gonna worry as much about pleasantries. And I think Amanda's pretty good with diplomacy as well, but it's not always there. With a rainmaker, and so sometimes things can come in blunt or bluntly, and it's not meant to wreck your feelings. It's just constructive feedback. Please take it and move forward. I'd like to talk or ask another question about growing the business. So Amanda, you two are doing amazing things this year. We were running your numbers when we met this week, and it's looking like you could double your production from last year to this year. So you guys are really, really killing it. Can you talk a little bit about what adding Gabby into the mix, the right person into the mix, has done for you kind of day-to-day wise, in order to help you see this amazing growth?
Yeah, I mean, Gabby is, well, a personal thing about Gabby is she has iron rods in her back, but I tell her that that's actually her superpower because she's my backbone. She has just been able to jump into the role and help and support the clients, and in a way to give me the bandwidth to keep moving forward, getting new clients, supporting new clients. She's constantly communicating with them, giving them feedback, telling them what's going on with their transactions so that they're in the loop, and we're able to deliver superior customer service to our clients and having nothing fall through the cracks. So, she is my right hand, my extra set of eyes and ears, and we talk every single day, multiple times a day. And she's just able to really help and support the clients in a way that goes above and beyond the expectations that they might have for a typical real estate agent.
Awesome. And Gabby, anything to add there in terms of some of the things that maybe you've seen after you've gotten into the role that you're in now? Obviously, Amanda's talking about you taking over a lot of the client care. You're able to take that off of her plate, and I's dotted and T's crossed, so Amanda doesn't have to worry about that, so she can go hunt business. And anything else that comes to mind that you can add?
Yeah, there was one thing that Amanda had pointed out early on, that if someone isn't sharing what's going on in their personal life, something is wrong. Like, I should know what's going on in Amanda's life and she should know what's going on in mine so that I can pick up where she lacks and she can do the same for me. If she's not feeling well that day, I'm going to answer every call and I'm going to make sure that no one bothers her. And she does the same for me. So it's just really complimenting each other and caring about each other as people that really makes us work well together, and it helps our business grow because then we're a solid team and it's never anything other than that. It's just we're a solid team. We work together. Where she falls off, I'll pick up and vice versa. So being that support for her is really important, and it truly helps, keep the well-oiled machine going.
I love that. And that's something that comes up in a lot of these interviews where it's a successful pairing. The assistant feels truly valued, feels like the boss genuinely cares about them and who they are and what's important to them, and that they'll be there for them. And in some situations, again, you've got a rainmaker, you've got a company, whatever it is, and they're throwing money at something to deal with particular tasks or something like that, but there's not the human connection. And when you have that human connection, it makes Gabby want to go above and beyond for Amanda, Amanda go above and beyond for Gabby. So I love that the two of you have that, and it's definitely something that I see in a lot of successful pairings. I'd like to hit rewind and go all the way back to the hiring one more time.
Sure.
One thing that came up, when we were talking earlier about what made both of you feel like this was going to be a great fit was values. And there was a very strong value match between the two of you that kind of came up near the end of the hiring process. Can you all talk a little bit about that briefly?
Go ahead, Gabby.
Yeah. So in the original job description, it had listed, again, I knew nothing about real estate. I didn't know that much about the job, but it had listed that she ran a faith-based business, which was very important to me because I'm someone that's very deeply rooted in my faith. And for our values to align, it builds that personal connection, and that we care about each other and we care about our faith, and we project that through our business. We are here, and I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. If you don't use us, you're doing yourself a disservice. We are the best out there. I wouldn't sleep well at night if any of my friends or family used anyone else, just because we are truly the best and we have the best interest at heart because we care about our clients. We see all of our clients as gifts from God, and that we've been blessed with them, and that we should treat everyone as a blessing, and we should help them to our greatest ability. And anything that we are equipped with, it's been a gift, so we should be projecting that out to the world, and I think we do it phenomenally.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the hiring process, um, I think first or primarily we question, does someone have the right skills for the job? And then as we got to the very end, that's where we did more of the values exercise. And it really didn't even come up until the very, very end of the interview. But when it did, it was kind of like the icing on the cake. Like, this person is the perfect person for the role. And we share a lot of the same values and we see the world in the same way. And I think with that kind of everyone has different values, but especially for my number two, the person that's going to be my right hand, I've learned, having gone through so many assistants, that for me, our values needed to align. And it was just, I couldn't have asked for it to align any more than it does. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And again, we at our company believe that all companies need to know what they're all about. Having a mission, having a vision, having values, and the fact that Amanda was clear on what her values were, and that was able to be kind of like a final little bit of confirmation, was great for both of them. It kind of led Gabby to actually even apply for the job. I think, Gabby, you said you weren't tossing your resume around to a bunch
No,
of different
I was
places.
very intentional about this one.
Yeah. So Gabby was laser focused on the opportunity, came up, showed up strong. It was a
A match made in heaven.
I was waiting.
divine intervention. Some people might say that, but anyway, so happy to see all the success you all are having. I just want to open up the floor for both of you. Any last little bits of advice for rainmakers, job seekers, people that just got a job similar to Gabby, in terms of how to either find the right person or to get that job or really succeed on the job?
Yeah, I would say for rainmakers, before you can hire someone else, you need to be hyper aware and self-aware of who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, and be really honest with yourself on what your weaknesses are. And then only at that point can you hire that right person to fill those voids and those weaknesses and complement your strengths. And I would say, as long as someone has the skills needed to succeed in the role, at first I was really hesitant about hiring someone that didn't have real estate experience, but I'm glad that I did, and take that risk, because it is an initial investment, and you have someone's livelihood that Gabby's investing in me just as much as I'm investing in her. So I take that really seriously. And for us, it's definitely people first, but I protect Gabby because like she's my right hand. And just knowing that she comes first, a lot of times, or most all the time before our clients, like her needs, to make sure she's good, because clients will come and go, but Gabby's here to stay. So making sure that she's good, she's happy, she has everything that she needs, and that she's equipped to really succeed in her role, and taking this investment very seriously. I think once you have all of those things, then it's just a matter of hiring the right person.
Awesome.
And then to like piggyback off of what Amanda said, like me coming in from no real estate experience to coming headfirst into spring with 12 transactions under contract and not knowing a single thing. It's really a matter of just keeping your mind open and always being able to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And this is something that Amanda really encourages. And she's always, she supports me on it. Like pushing myself out of my comfort zone doesn't mean putting myself in a situation that I'm uncomfortable in. It's growing my bandwidth, learning new things, being able to be uncomfortable doing certain tasks will make them second nature to me soon. So when I had first started, I gave myself 2 months. I was like, all right, 2 months, and I'm going to learn a decent amount and I'm going to be comfortable. And then after 2 months, we sat down and we had our 60-day conversation, and we had really made it really far. So that's just taking it day by day and learning something new every day. And some advice for assistants out there to rainmakers, something that Amanda and I do every day is we do an end of day report. So every day I list out what I've done in the day, not necessarily for her to be like, what did you do today? But for me to be like, okay, I did all of this today. What am I doing tomorrow? And we also IDS situations. So we identify, discuss, and solve situations that happened in the day, because problems are going to arise, but we just see them as opportunities to learn. So we identify the issue, we discuss it, we solve it, and keep it moving. And that's something that is really valuable to learn from your mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes. You're new, you don't know what you're doing. You're working with a new person. It's not going to be like the yellow brick road. It's not going to be the best thing ever, but it will get better. And then if you put in the time and the investment up front, it's a cakewalk from there.
Love it. So much wisdom there. How Gabby was, maybe, I'm sure we're all a little bit afraid outside of our comfort zone, but realizing that the path to growth lies outside of our comfort zone. So even though there might be a little bit of trepidation there, you you know that if you can go there and spend some time there, now you've expanded your comfort zone, and you have a wider skill set. Gabby's rapidly growing into that true extension of Amanda, which is enabling Amanda and the team to do so much more. So I'm just so happy to be a part of it. Anyway, Amanda and Gabby, thank you so much for being here. Everyone out there, again, Amanda and Gabby are based out of Morristown, New Jersey. If anyone has the need of an amazing team of high producers that can help someone buy, sell, invest in real estate, you should definitely phone these two. You will not be disappointed. So again, thank you so much to the two of you for joining us. Thank you everyone out there for taking the time to watch us, and everyone have a great weekend.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye.
All right.
Bye.